If you're so worried about what's possible that it stops you from putting all your effort in, then you're in the wrong place mentally. Get your head right. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com, and I got a new video topic to discuss today. And it's a topic that's pretty near and dear to my heart. But before we get into the meat of that discussion, do a little home gym update. It's kind of dark in here to see, but I actually got rid of the big storage rack that was hanging down in the center of my garage, and I'm actually planning to paint my new ProPhysique logo, the Leave No Doubt logo, in the center of my garage. So it's all coming together very nicely. I just purchased from my friends Ben Esgro, Ryan Doris. They were getting rid of some of their equipment, so I got a cable pull down machine, which I'm very excited about, because that means I can really do some good back training. And then I also got a glute ham raise, which I'm very excited about, but Lauren and my wife are also excited about that, because that means additional training for the glute garage. Right now, this is considered the glute garage because mostly my wife and Lauren train here. I don't train here that often yet. And eventually, because this is Florida, I would like to get some full-on AC in this joint. As you can see, it's a rather large space. It's a two-car garage, really deep as well. So cooling it is going to take a commercial or, like a residential full-on AC unit. But that's not what's important, because today we're going to talk about building muscle naturally. And the reason we're going to talk about building muscle naturally versus taking steroids or any other type of hormone, whatever you want to do, is because I don't have any experience with that. And obviously, I want to talk about what I have experience with. So if you're looking for information on how to build muscle with steroids, I'm not your guy. More power to you. No hate on using steroids. Much love to anybody who's a bodybuilder who wants to do better for themselves. My personal reasons for choosing to stay natural, we can get into that another time. But for my brothers and sisters out there who just choose to avoid adding drugs into the regimen, let's discuss what it takes to build muscle naturally. First, let's start with getting into the gym and doing a resistance training program. I think in the current society with so much information, and especially the fitness community where everybody has specialized training programs, it can be a little bit overwhelming. And part of the problem, part of the problem that I've seen with a lot of people that are new to the gym is they get a little bit of information overload, and they're trying to find the right program to put on muscle. First things first, if you're new to resistance training, and by new I mean less than a year, it doesn't matter specifically what you do. Get in the gym and train. It doesn't matter if you do periodization, non-linear periodization, daily undulating periodization. It doesn't matter if you do any periodization at all. It doesn't matter if you do go to failure on every set. The response is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be the most fun you'll ever have in the gym. As someone who's been training for, I think I've been training for 23 years now, as scary as that sounds. Not 23 years straight, but I started training when I was 17 years old. But those first few months and years, when you get on a good, consistent basis of going to the gym every day, eating well, recovering, maybe you have some buddies that you go to the gym with, you can set a PR every day, every week. Your body just responds. But what happens for most people, and this is where they fall off the wagon, is when the gains stop coming at that rate, it becomes difficult to stay motivated. Now, for me personally, and for a lot of people that I know that are really successful drug-free bodybuilders, it's literally the ability to delay gratification. A lot of the really successful, high-level natural bodybuilders that I know are highly educated and have a lot of skills or other hobbies that they do. And this allows them to not focus solely on their progress or lack thereof in the gym. And it also tells me, when I know people who have PhDs and other things, is that they can set a goal and set a timeline and let themselves attain it. So this is very important when it comes to building muscle naturally, because if you get caught up in the gaining a pound a month or 10 pounds a year and you've been training for a couple years, it's not going to happen. You're not going to put muscle on in a substantial amount for a long period of time. But what does happen is that muscle becomes of higher quality. It becomes denser. It becomes more resistant during a fat loss phase. You get more efficient at keeping the fat or keeping the muscle while you're losing body fat. So a lot of times you hear people say, well, the best bodybuilders are always the older guys. Well, that's because bodybuilding is a game of attrition. If you take a year off, 2 years off, 5 years off, and somebody else keeps training for those same amount of years, they are going to make progress at a better rate than you. And so what I think you're seeing with a lot of the older bodybuilders is just guys that have such a passion for the gym that they don't need to take time off. I see a lot of guys, younger, especially, when I was younger. I had a lot of friends that I trained with and a lot of people that I would go to the gym with that would come in the gym all gung-ho and do a killer 12-week, 16-week, maybe even 6-month plan. And then other things would consume their time. Maybe they would get a girlfriend, or they would pick up another hobby. They would start playing a sport. And that's great. No disrespect to that. Not everybody loves this process. I love this process. I almost refuse to not train. When I go on vacation, I look forward to where am I going to train on vacation. And I've been in relationships in the past where that wasn't always an accepted thing. Like, why are you going to the gym? We're on vacation. But for me, that's part of enjoying life. And my wife understands that. And that's probably a major reason why we're together to this day. The variable most closely associated with muscle growth is training volume. What is training volume? Training volume is your sets times your reps times your weight. That will give you the total training volume. Pure volume is not the only factor here. So intensity in the gym matters too. Intensity being the percentage of your 1 rep max that you use. Are you training in the 60%? Are you training in the 70, 80, 90%? As you become more advanced and you go into that intermediate phase, as a natural athlete, you need to be paying attention to your intensity levels. You need to be undulating your intensity. You need to be using higher and lower intensities and variations to ensure that you're getting the most out of your training program. There's still a lot of research going into this, including, Mike Zoros is doing some great research on daily undulating periodization. And there are a lot of athletes that I follow that don't do periodization at all, and they still get fantastic results. So what do I notice about the people that get fantastic results despite not following a specific periodization protocol? And that is constantly overloading and getting more volume in. They're not doing the same sets and reps that they were last year. If they're doing 225 pounds on the bench press last year for 10 reps, this year they're doing sets of 12 or 13. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that's more volume over time. More volume over time is more muscle over time. It's about getting more work done. What about nutrition? What is the most important aspect of nutrition for a person who's going to build muscle naturally? Well, the number one variable is that you get enough protein. How much protein? The beauty of me making mistakes for years and years and years is that you don't have to make those mistakes. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you're doing 2 grams of protein per pound, that is a lot of overkill on the protein. It's a lot of overkill on the wallet and even on the digestive system, because I've done it before. I used to eat 400 grams of protein and I felt miserable and I didn't get any extra benefit out of it. So what do I prescribe? What do I prescribe for protein? Start at 1 gram per pound. If you are leaner, if you are on the leaner side, 10% or under, bump that up, 1.2, 1.3 grams per pound. If you are in the 20 to 30% body fat range, you can stay at 1 gram per pound. Base it more loosely on your lean body mass. And there's some variance in there. You can do what you need to do and space those space that protein out through 3, 4, even 5 meals a day is preferred. I know some people use intermittent fasting. I'm not opposed to intermittent fasting. I just have trouble with the idea of getting 80 to 120 grams of protein in a single sitting, which is what I would have to do for intermittent fasting. So I prefer the 4 to 5 to 6 hour window for eating. Fats. Where should your fats be for a natural athlete? I prefer to keep fats around 20 to 25% of total calories. Someone who's dieting, they might get down to 17, 18%, but keeping fats elevated allows better digestion, allows hormone levels to be elevated properly. So keeping your fats in a good place is very important. And finally, the carbohydrates, which for a natural athlete can have quite a bit of variance depending on your metabolic rate. Carbohydrate metabolism varies from person to person, but carbohydrates are very important when it comes to performance and resistance training for physique athletes. So I would just base that based on your protein and your fats. I would whatever your maintenance is, I would use the rest for carbohydrates. Prioritizing carbohydrates pre-workout, I feel, is beneficial. And if you train later in the day, maybe you just eat carbohydrates all throughout the day to get your numbers up there. So for natural athletes, what about drinking alcohol? My friend Lane Norton just did a great video on this topic itself. I wrote an article for iifym.com on the topic. And drinking in moderation is perfectly acceptable. It depends on your goals. Are you about to get on a bodybuilding stage? Are you getting ready for a physique competition? Maybe you need to minimize it or cut it out altogether based on your preferences. If you are in the gain season, the building phase, having a few drinks here and there, no issues. My buddy Eric Helms, when we were in Australia, he said he liked to keep the calories from alcohol at less than 15% of total calories for the day. His reasoning, it just sounded reasonable. There's no specific science behind it. But if you have a healthy diet, you can certainly have some alcohol and enjoy yourself. Not talking about binge drinking and, on a consistent basis, but being realistic, it's more sustainable if you can include the things you enjoy in the diet. And of course, I always believe in a flexible diet approach. Of course, whole foods should make up the basis of your diet. Don't use flexible dieting as an excuse to eat a bunch of garbage. And let's finally talk on supplementation and what some good supplements for natural athletes are. First and foremost, Core Nutritionals is my sponsor and the company that I believe has the best supplements on the market. So I'll always give a shout out to Doug Miller, who makes what I consider to be the best products. And if you're familiar with supplement companies hiding ingredients, using proprietary blends, then you will really like Core Nutritionals. All the ingredients are listed on the bottle. So what are the efficacious supplements currently that I recommend? For natural athletes, we got to start at the top with creatine. Creatine monohydrate, especially if you don't have a high red meat diet, will be of high benefit. Taking creatine on a daily basis, there's no need to come off of it. There's no need to stop taking it when you're dieting. It allows the muscle to stay more hydrated, allows you to perform better, and in the long run, more training volume is giving you what? More muscle. Next on my list would be branched chain amino acids. I like to use branched chains in between my meals and during training. There's a lot of great research on branched chain amino acids. It's one of the turning points in my lifting career is when I started using branched chains on a regular basis. I noted more consistent progress. I really enjoy essential fatty acids. I like to include those in my diet as well, just because it is difficult to get high quality fats all the time. So what should we look for in a pre-workout? Now, at one point in my life, I had never had coffee or caffeine. And if that's the situation for you, you could probably get by with just using a caffeinated beverage as your pre-workout. But the pre-workouts that are now designed are so good. They're so specific. They're no longer just a stimulant high. You're no longer just getting in the gym. You're actually getting the benefits of fatigue resistance. You're getting the benefits of focus. So there are nootropics in there that are actually designed to help keep you mentally sharp. And what I find, I use Core Fury Extreme. And what I find from using that product is that I get in the gym, I get my workout in, and
my workout's done. Like, I literally have nothing left to do, and I still feel like I want to go. I feel like I have stuff to do. So I'll sometimes add in some extra abs or extra cardio, or I'll run home and I'll get on the computer and I'll start doing some work because I just have that extra boost of energy and focus. And I've even used Core Warrior Extreme and even Core Burn, the fat burner, during times when I just needed that extra mental sharp focus for work or for another project I was working on. So there are benefits there. And let's discuss a little bit about fat burners. The term fat burner can be a little bit misleading. I think some people associate fat burners with, let me take my fat burner and sit on my fat ass and burn the fat. Fat burners don't work like that. Fat burners allow you to burn more fat because they are very good at appetite suppression. So you will be able to not have that feeling of hunger, which leads to snacking, which leads to overeating. It gives you the ability to train with more intensity. So if you're doing it before your cardio, you're going to be better at that cardio. Better performance of the cardio, better fat loss. And finally, when it comes to a fat burner, fat burners also liberate adipose tissue to be burned up as fuel. So you've got the benefit of that. But for it to be liberated, you have to do something. You have to be training or doing cardio. So those are really the benefits of a fat burner. Let's talk about building muscle naturally over a lifespan, over some time. What are some realistic expectations? There's always going to be people out there that are genetic outliers, that are able to put on muscle quickly. I understand there is a great difference in what's possible from person to person. I really don't like it when people start to associate people being natural or not natural because of how much muscle they have. Call me an optimist, but I tend to just believe that there are people in this world that are going to be capable of much greater things than I. I mean, we've got people in this world that are over 7 feet tall. We've got people in this world that can jump out of a gym, have freaking 40-inch verticals. We got people in this world that can run a 100-meter dash in under 10 seconds. Why is it so implausible that we can't have some people in this world that are genetically more built to build muscle? And so what's possible? It doesn't matter because it's only important for you. It doesn't matter. If I told you you could only do this much, would that make you train? Would that need less intensity? If you told me right now that I could train for the next 20 years and I'm not going to put on any more muscle, guess what? I'd still train. I just love it that much. So if you're so worried about what's possible that it stops you from putting all your effort in, then you're in the wrong place mentally. Get your head right. Go do your job, eat, train, rest, recover, do your research, make sure you're doing the best things that you can possibly do, and just see what's possible. Just see what happens after a year, after 5 years, 10 years. I promise you, if you put your head down and grind for 10 years, you're gonna make a lot of progress. You're gonna make a lot of people think, damn, that guy might be on steroids because you look so good. Bodybuilding doesn't take up that much time. You're gonna eat anyway, just eat right. Go to the gym an hour a day, hour and a half a day, 4 or 5, 6 days a week. You know, after 23 years in the gym, it takes me a little more time. I spend a little more time in the gym now than I did 15 years ago. But guess what? I'm also making a little more progress. I've also learned to be more efficient with my time. Anyway, guys, that's it. That's my topic, building muscle naturally. And hopefully I can relate to a lot of the younger people out there because when I was younger, I would have appreciated seeing this. I probably had some unrealistic expectations. I would get down on myself. I would try a bunch of things. I would give up for 3 months at a time, 6 months at a time, get back in the gym, and I would make great progress because of my muscle memory. And I would, and then as soon as the progress would stall, I would lose confidence. But what was weird was that I just always had a passion for it. Even if I was angry or frustrated, I would still go to the gym. And it wasn't until honestly, bodybuilding.com came out with a bunch of content on the forums and video series that I started understanding a lot more about the natural physique that it got me excited. So hopefully I can help somebody here, get you excited. If you have questions or comments, please let me know below. Anything specifically, I love this topic. I love the idea of bodybuilding, of physique athletes, of whatever it is that gets you excited. I don't care if it's CrossFit, I don't care if it's marathon running. I get excited about people getting excited about their goals. So hopefully this sparks an interest for somebody. If you have any specific questions or if you want any resources, training programs, nutrition advice, any of that stuff, just comment below. You can always email me, paul@prophysique.com. I love hearing from you guys, and peace out, guys.